I know that human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
Hello and welcome to the Spoilt Milk Movie Podcast. Here at Spoilt Milk, we like to discuss, dissect, and destroy guilty pleasure movies. And then we decide whether the film is truly spoilt milk, or whether it's ascended into a fine, luxurious cheese. So without further ado, let's go.
Warning, this podcast is full of spoilers for the title feature, and there's bad language from the start. If you've never seen the film, or you're offended by bad language, you have been warned.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Spoilt Milk Movie Podcast, where today we're going to be talking about the 1988 fish out of water, rags to riches, but riches to rags and water to fish film.
What was the 1988
film Coming to America, starring Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall. As always, joined by two people, but it's a different two people today. Joined by Laura. How are you, Laura?
I'm good, thank you.
You sound good.
Thank you. We just had a whole conversation about that.
Yeah, we did. Hobo was saying Hobo tried to put you down.
Yeah, he was being sexist and said that you were both more powerful than me.
He did. He said powerful. He said that we would have risen to the top of a corporation and you would have made the tea.
No.
And cleaning.
I was saying that while you have a sharper, higher pitched voice, it doesn't overpower the stupidly booming voices that me and Cham have.
And there we go. We've got the sexist, misogynist pig that is the Hobo. How did you get so misogynistic on the streets?
Well, I got some bacon and then I rubbed it into some misogyny and that seemed to work. Misogyny is a cure-all that you can buy anywhere.
I was just going to say, that's not a sausage. It's not sausage and bacon.
You can get misogyny. It's wrapped in pig liver, intestine. I don't know. Don't know what I'm saying.
So remind me, what top three were we going for in the end? We had a couple of options and we picked one. And I think we went for rags to riches, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we've gone for Coming to America, which is a riches to rags, flip on the head, but we've gone for rags to riches. Who wants to go first?
No one. Everyone looks
Right, I'll go
around.
first then.
Shift
Whenever I think of films like this, I think of Adam Sandler because he loves that kind of fairy tale story of a schmuck who ends up like becoming something better than the sum of the parts. So I'm going to go for Mr. Deeds, purely because I love it. Like, I went to see it when I was about 17, maybe 21. And was just like, this film is ace. I love the black foot bit where his like foot's been frozen.
Oh, I
and he
remember
can't
that.
feel anything.
Yeah. And also I went to see it I used to work at Asda. When I was 16, I got a job at Asda working as a hot dog salesman. And I had my own hot dog
I bet
cart.
you did. Oh.
Is that on your CV?
I'm going to sell some hot dogs down my throat. Oh.
But you see, I think that sounds better. Like that sounds better. At least like that sounds like you've got a talent. But I just had a hot dog cart where I put hot dogs on some hot rollers. I sounded gross. Hot dogs on some hot rollers, and then they cooked. And then I had to chop my own onions. So I was crying, and I was fat at the time. So I was fat and crying, selling people hot dogs. And yeah, that's where I worked when I was 16. And the people from Asda came to the cinema with me.
This feels like what rich people pay for. Like, I want to see a fat man cry.
I have a serious question. Why don't Asda do this anymore with hot dog stands?
It was 99p for a hot dog, a large one, or $1.29 for an extra large, which was quite a big hot dog.
No option for small or regular.
No. Oh my God. You don't even know
Small
how
and chubby.
I remember like coming home from work at 16 and being like, fucking customers. like don't even know the difference between large and extra large. And I'd be like, which do you want? And they'd say, I'll have a large. So I'd give them the smaller one. They'd be like, I said large. And I was like, that's the extra large. And then I'd get pissed off about it and they'd get pissed off. It was a lose-lose situation. But anyway, Asda aside, I worked with people at Asda who went to the cinema to see Mr. Deeds with me. And yeah, we had a bloody good time. It was lots of fun.
Is that the film where the butler says like sneaky, sneaky?
Sneaky,
Yeah.
yes.
Underestimate my sneakiness.
Sneaky, sneaky.
And it's also the one where he slides down like the banister rail or whatever.
Did that start all sliding down banister rails?
Whatever.
No, not ever, but like, did it bring it back?
Maybe. I feel like it might have done.
I feel like it's an 80s thing. Like, more than anything
Did you say
else.
80s?
I think it's like an 80s
It's like an
thing.
80s thing.
An 80s thing.
80s.
It's so
you know,
80s
the
thing.
1980s.
Don't you know? You're so not 80s.
Yes, so 80s. So that's mine. I'm going for Mr. Deeds. Not much of a reason.
I
why.
love Mr. That is the quintessential Vaxovich story. 'Cause it is that's the trope.
Well, we'll see what yours are. Who's going next?
Well, I could have gone because of the film we're choosing, which is coming to America. I could have gone for Trading Places,
Oh,
but I didn't.
right.
So I'm going to go for what I forgot. Oh, I did forget.
It's great watching you work.
I was buying
going
myself
to
time.
Go for.
As soon as I said Trading Places, I forgot the name of the film. But I'm going to go for Blank Check.
Is that the one with the little kid
Yeah.
who gets? Does he get like run over on his bike?
Yeah, like essentially a rich guy runs him over, and says like, "Oh, I'm in a hurry or something. Here's a blank check. Just write whatever you
Well,
want."
it doesn't say that, does it? Isn't he just like, here's a check, and he like signs his
Yeah,
signature, and then is like, gives it to him, but he's forgotten to write the number in.
yeah.
So the kid is really responsible and kind and nice to the guy and puts like a tenner in, doesn't he?
No.
No, he doesn't.
No,
He's a
he-
snidey little prick.
Yeah, he's like,
I've not seen this film.
I could rinse this fucker.
Yeah.
And he does. He rinses the fucker.
It-
And what ensues is it's like Big story, where a kid is in an adult body and gets to do what he wants. It's a kid with adult money. So it's,
But he steals basically
Yeah.
off another guy. Yeah, the other guy, we know the other guy is a bad guy,
yeah.
but he just gets run over by someone who's like, I'm in a rush, here's a check. And he writes like $1 million, doesn't
but
he?
he
on
doesn't
it?
really do it maliciously in the same way.
Oh, that's fine then.
It's
Stealing
done
$1
in a way
million
that-
from someone,
Yeah.
fine, if
I
you're
mean-
not malicious.
I can't remember what age is meant to be in that film. Is it like 12?
No age is acceptable to do
No.
that.
I'm
What?
with Laura.
I know adults now who have zero concept of money.
Mm.
I know people when I was growing up that at 18 or 21, they still thought money out of the ATM. And by the way, these people weren't rich people that had all the money in the world and were stupid because of that. They came from like average families or less than average, and they still thought the ATM was a magic money machine. So when they first got their card, they didn't understand that the overdraft they were going into was money that they owed back.
I've never
Yeah.
thought that.
Yeah.
Ever.
No.
Yeah. So, but
But I also spent £16 on a bag of coffee today. Does that count?
how long does that
No,
bag
it
last? you?
doesn't.
1 month.
I don't know. I can't do the maths on how much coffee you'll get out.
That's
of that bag.
£4 a week. If you think about a Starbucks, it's
Oh.
like £2.50
Yeah,
per
that's
cup.
good.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And that's for 2 people.
But do
That's
you
really good.
do you still go out to Starbucks on top of it?
No.
Well, then
I've stopped my
then
Starbucks.
I buy Lush products on a sort of fortnightly basis.
I'd say weekly.
Fortnightly.
Yeah, but Lush products do that thing where if you take your pots back,
You get a free one.
there you go. It's just good.
I wish bars did that. If you take your pint glass back.
That you've nicked already.
I went to a bar the other day that had loyalty stamps
Oh.
where if you buy like 8 pints, you get your 9th for free. And he fucked up my drink and was like, here you go. And just stamped my card and was like, here's a free drink. And I was like, oh, thank you.
Can I get 2 of those?
I know what's the one opposite the library in Sheffield? They do a loyalty card where whatever you
Have you
buy,
not heard of an ebook?
whenever you buy, libraries do ebooks.
Shut up.
They give you like 10% back on the pound or something.
Oh yeah,
So you can get a loyalty card, but it's more like a Tesco's loyalty card.
All you Sheffield listeners, you need to get over to this bar that we can't remember.
I'd say 10% of our listeners are Sheffield, 90% are American.
Yeah, Los Angeles.
They don't realise that they're listening to us.
So what remind us of your film?
My film was, I blanked on it again because it's called Blank Check.
Laura, over to you.
Oh, okay. Mine's Harry Potter.
Yay!
Of course.
Well, he's like raised by the Dursleys, which is his mum's sister and her husband, and their horrible child. And he lives in a cupboard under the stairs. And then he finds out he's a wizard by Hagrid, who says, "You're a wizard, Harry." I'm not going to do the voice.
You're a wizard, Harry. Harry, sorry.
Harry. Gets a really cool cake. I'm just talking about
Cake?
Harry Potter.
Yeah, he gets that sweet cake in the
So
first
it's
one.
like happy birthday.
I thought you mispronounced cape, meaning like their robe or something, but
A cape made of cake.
that'd be amazing.
But you can't fly very far with
No,
it.
well, it'd fall apart.
Or you'd eat it.
But for the context,
It is a rags to riches story.
Laura is the person who was last on the podcast when she was talking about Harry Potter she did the Harry Potter quiz.
Yeah, and I failed at it really badly. But he goes to Gringotts and he finds out that his parents left him a shit ton of money, which is really cool. But then you never see him spend it too much, apart from when he says, "We'll take the whole lot" with the sweet cart for
We'll
him
take
and Ron.
the whole lot, Ron. Don't you think it's weird that our three top threes weren't really in that bad a position to begin with? Like your kid in the Blank Check film, he's just a normal kid. Mr. Deeds is doing all right for himself.
Harry's parents died and he lives in a
Harry
cupboard.
lives in like a middle class cupboard.
He's a middle class cupboard.
Yeah, but he doesn't get the stuff that his family gets.
I feel like Harry Potter should have been set in Bosnia, like in the early 90s.
Should we have not done? I mean, I've still never seen the film, so shame on me. Rags to Riches, Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah, that's
Is
a
that-
good
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
that's probably
good
a
one.
better example of all of ours.
Or is it the Great Something Hotel? Marigot Hotel?
Oh, in
Well, I
that
haven't
old
seen that.
people.
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember. There's something in that story. I don't know.
There's also Lion, which is the kid
Lion's
who
a great
gets
film.
left.
No, but it's not riches at the end. Like, it's still quite heartbreaking.
Oh, okay.
But I think Harry Potter's a quality choice. I feel like Harry Potter is the quintessential rags to riches.
No,
Yeah,
bullshit.
it is.
No.
More than
How?
Mr. Deeds
How?
is.
Not more than Blank Check.
No,
Yeah.
No.
no.
No, because doesn't he like learn a valuable lesson and give everything back? Whereas Harry Potter still has shit tons of stuff at the end.
Yeah, he didn't learn a valuable
Ultimate rags to
lesson.
riches.
He did learn a valuable lesson. He learned about family and friends and trust.
And not giving money to charity.
How do you know that he didn't give money to charity?
How do you know that he did?
Because he's an aura. As an adult, he helps out.
I don't
Shut
know
the
what
fuck
that
up.
means. I've not read the extended
He's
universe.
related to Rita Ora. So that's our top three. So mine was Mr. Deeds. Laura, what was yours?
Harry Potter.
And Hobo.
Mine was Blank Piece of Paper film.
Back to talk about Coming to America.
This is a break from the podcast. This isn't fake, it is real. Grab a biscuit, a Kit Kat, or toffee, maybe samosa.
Hello and welcome back to part one of this Coming to America edition of the Spoilt Milk Movie Podcast, where today we're talking about Coming to America.
Welcome to America. We have McDonald's?
McDowell's.
McDowell's.
Damn it, I
Yes.
get it wrong.
You thought it was a weird McDonald's
Yeah.
sign, and I had to tell you it was not McDonald's.
So, have you two seen Coming to America before?
Yes, I just
Yes.
couldn't remember it. And then as things were happening, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this part.
How old were you when you watched it the first time?
I think I was because my parents, they're great parents, but they let me watch all sorts of films.
They're the best kind of parents.
I watched American Pie really, really young.
I went to see American Pie when I was 16 with my mum. So
awkward.
it was me.
Oh my God.
Yeah, me, my mum, and my sister went to see American Pie together. And like in the first 10 minutes when there's like, is it the first one when there's like jizz in that cup? And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm sure I was in between both of them. Like,
He's getting head from a girl and she spits into his beer.
yeah.
And then the next guy comes
Stifler
in.
drinks it.
Yeah.
The weird part is, I think at the time I was like, I don't quite know. I'm like, I think there's something like to do with semen in here. I bet my mum was sat there being like, she's just spat out that cum.
Good girl.
I mean, I hope Chris doesn't know it.
Can't believe she spat. She'll never get a husband.
Never get married, never have children.
Maybe she was appalled at like the lessons it was teaching me. Well, if you want a good Catholic boy, would have gone straight in there. No condom. So the reason I ask is because my first memories of coming to America is, that sounded like weird then, coming to America.
Welcome to America is what it should have been.
Yeah, it should have. Sounds a bit less dirty. Was being like a young kid and watching it on ITV or BBC One. But seeing like a cut version, I was not aware that this film was as raunchy and racy as this was going to be.
This is what I thought. And I thought for a while that I had just not remembered. But now you've said it like that, I think I just only saw the cut version for a while.
Because you turned around to me when we were watching it and you said, I thought this was a family film.
Yeah.
I almost recommend watching this with kids because I was like, this is just don't get me wrong, it came out in 88. So it's an 80s family film, which is still a bit raunchier than now with PG and PG-13, whatever. But within the first 5 minutes, there's tits everywhere and a royal penis washer.
Yeah, and like they're not talking about just making sure it's clean, are they?
No.
There was sexual,
Yeah.
like I'm not even going to say undertones to this. It was full on. He's
Underwater
getting jerked
blowjob. off.
Right.
I thought there was some special blowjob going
I
on.
thought it was a blowjob.
Did you?
Yeah.
Like that person must have like deep sea diver breath holding skills then. Because they were talking about, when they were talking about washing and bathing, I thought, right, you wash yourself with your hand, maybe a loofah. So I was thinking that lends itself to a hand job. What made you think it was going to be a bird job?
Just
the water.
She was underwater. Like, if you're going to give a hand job, does your head need to be underwater?
No, but if you were like washing someone and then, oops, all of a sudden I'm jerking you off. It's happened to me.
No, but
I've been washing like a prince.
again,
And then,
if you need to wash someone, you don't need to put your head underwater to wash them.
oh, is it because the character popped up from underwater?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
The rest of them were above ground, above water.
Above ground.
Above ground.
They were above water. But that particular one came from underneath and went, your dick is clean. I was like, I know what
Did you just make eye contact with him as you said it?
Yeah.
dick is. I'm going to make
Oh,
eye
no,
contact.
not again.
Don't worry, I'll make eye contact with the dog while I say it.
There is a dog in the room this
It's
time.
my dog.
He loved it. He loved it.
Leave my dog alone, you fucking sicko.
Yeah,
Dick is
don't talk
clean.
about dicks being clean and then
He's
bring the dog.
3 years old.
Oh, what's that in dog years?
Old enough. Right, moving on.
21.
Yes!
He's legal.
Okay, and I'm sure he's all clean. So we start with Eddie Murphy's character, who is Prince Akeem, Prince of what's
I
the,
can never
the country?
remember.
I wrote it
It
down.
began with a Z.
Zamunda.
Zamunda, and his father is Earl
Mufasa.
It is
James Earl Jones, who looks the same. He's
Yeah.
just always been
Yeah.
old. He's like Morgan Freeman, where they have just been old since. This was 1988.
Yeah, he's been old since I was a kid.
How old do you think he was there? He looked at least like
40s,
late
50s.
Oh, 40s. I was
Yeah.
going to say
I
late
remember
50s.
seeing him in. Have you ever watched House?
No.
He's in House. He comes in as
with Hugh Laurie?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
He comes in as he's this like dictator from a foreign country, and the whole episode is, you know, the moral dilemma of if you just let this dictator die, millions of people live, or you uphold the Hippocratic oath of saving his life, and he's really good at, considering that I knew him as Mufasa. And obviously from Coming to America.
Darth Vader.
He's straddling the line between Mufasa, Darth Vader, and Coming to America King. He's a really evil dictator.
He kind of plays a similar role. I mean, Darth Vader's a bit of a like an evil version of Mufasa.
Darth Vader tortures a woman.
Every like role he plays, he always says, "My son." I can't do it.
I can't. I'm going to try. I was going to try.
There is a line out of this where it's from Star Wars as well. It's, shall I alert him to your presence? Like, no, don't alert him to my presence. It's something like that.
Oh, so this was after?
Yeah.
Because Star Wars is what, 78, is it? A New Hope. 79, yeah. Maybe. So we're talking like 10 years after.
Yeah.
Definitely after Empire Strikes Back. So the whole story is that Akeem is going to be involved in an arranged marriage.
Yeah.
And he's not bothered. We'll put it, that's how they wrote it in the script. Akeem is not bothered.
Oh, did you read the script?
Yeah. No. As if they were just going to put not bothered. But his dad's like, no, we want this. And then Akeem says, I'm going to America. And his dad's like, that's fine as long as you sow your wild oats or whatever.
Because Akeem is more than not bothered. He's like, I don't want a person who's just a slave.
He wants love.
Yeah.
This was what was so weird about this film, and what so many films in 80s were like, where they have this really kind of almost childlike story about, it was almost fairy tale about finding your true love and avoiding the, I don't know, kind of like the negative aspects of living in riches to find your true love, and how money isn't everything and love is everything. And then there were people walking around with their tits out and him effing and blinding everywhere. And
objectifying the woman that he eventually, there's a bit where he's like checking her out, like, isn't there? I feel he objectified.
What film were you watching?
There is a lot of objectification of women, but at the same time,
there
has
is
a positive message of women aren't just there to be slaves. He wants a woman that challenges his intellect as well as his loins.
As long as she obeys him.
Well, no, that's what Semi's saying. Semi's like, no, you want a... And by the way, I don't know what Semi means in other countries, but I'm pretty sure the character's name Semi in this film is meant to be a joke, right?
Yeah, like half of... I used to work with a guy called Semi, and he was the nicest guy I've ever met. I'm sorry to say that, but he was super nice.
What were you saying, Laura?
Nothing.
No, you don't think anything about Semi?
No.
Do you know?
I know what it means.
No, but like Semi means half, and I think what you're saying is like he is like from an American point of view,
like a half
version of. Why were you going for the Semi on?
Yeah.
Oh.
I thought that's what it was.
He's just got it on his mind at the moment.
You are dirty tonight.
I thought it was because, I mean...
Pull that dog down.
Arsenio Hall is horny as hell in this film.
Yeah, he is, true.
He's like up for banging anything.
He says that he's the prince at one point.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
I think the only person who's not up for banging in this film is the woman that's played by himself in the film.
Yeah. Well, we'll get on to like the multiple cast members later. So he says that he speaks to his dad. His dad's like, go and sow your wild oats. And they spin a globe. The good old fashioned spinning a globe. I want to find a queen. And they decide to go to Queens. So they go to
coincidence.
Queens. Have either of you been to Queens?
No.
No, me neither.
You've been to New York?
Yeah,
New York?
I've been to Brooklyn. I've stayed in Brooklyn a couple of times, but never been to Queens.
Did you see a vampire in Brooklyn?
No, I didn't. No, that's another Eddie Murphy film.
Oh.
Do you know Eddie Murphy had a credit as were writing the story. So the story was by Eddie Murphy on this film. To this. And there's 2 screenwriters who wrote it. He also had the credit for Vampire in Brooklyn and Beverly Hills Cop 2. None of the others, just Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Mm. You know what? Beverly Hills Cop 2 is better than 3. But that and Vampire in Brooklyn are both shit.
We should watch Vampire in Brooklyn, though.
We could definitely do that as a podcast. I've never seen it.
I've never seen it.
Oh my God, it's amazing. It's perfectly, even Katty will love it.
It's perfectly shit.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to reserve my judgment.
Well, you just said yes.
Cham, cut it out of the podcast. Cut it out of the podcast.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Cut it out of the podcast. Cut it out of the podcast.
So,
because I'm a woman.
Yes. So they go to Queens, and this is where the story kind of begins, doesn't it? He's going off to find his bride.
He went to Queens because it's called Queens.
Yeah.
He thinks that's where all Queens will be.
Yeah.
Spill my beer twice.
That noise was Cham. Don't jump down.
So they go to Queens, and it's quite it's from the late 80s, but it's quite a dated view of what New York is like. There's lots of these scenes of like muggings and like bad people. They get all their stuff
Did you say
stolen.
muggles?
No muggles. Well, everyone's a muggle, technically, aren't they?
Loads of scenes of muggles.
Well, isn't it that part where they go to that really crappy sort of motel or whatever it is, or an apartment, and you sort of see in the background like their boxes being stolen one by one?
And then someone tries to sell them their gold toothbrushes, don't they, back to them? I'm like, so they go to New York, and this is where kind of like the story kicks in. So how do they remind me how they're introduced to the McDowell's family?
So they get a job, don't they? They look for a job. I can't remember why.
They get in like a back room at some point, and one of them assumes that Eddie Murphy is a mop guy. So when so they just give him it's one of those like, oh, you can get a job just by being in the right place. There's no background checks.
By turning up and just cleaning.
Yeah. I imagine that's probably what it was like in the late 80s. Just turn up, do your job.
It seemed like it was much easier to get a job back in the 80s. Just go into your favourite record store and be like, I like music. And then like, you are now behind the...
You are the manager.
Yeah, exactly.
You manage music.
I had the worst thought about I like children. I'm going to go work in a school.
Well, that's how we got to our current problem 20 years later. Wait, 40 years later. Oh.
Did you just think it was the early 2000s?
Oh, yeah, I did. Oh.
Wait, hang on a second.
Wait, 30 years later.
Isn't it because don't they go to that like church event or something? I have seen this film, but it was like a few. No, they go to that event where Arsenio Hall's like, and they're like,
that's how. No, but
it's
how
sponsored by McDowell's, isn't it?
They go to the barber tells him to go to the church, because that's how, either you go to church or you go to a library to meet nice women.
There we go.
And he sees her
because she's making an announcement about a charity or something.
Yeah. But how he gets the job is just handed a mop and broom because he's trying to hang around where she is.
But this was one of the things about the film. They went to and this is where I was like, oh, it is quite slanted, is that they went to the church and he met Lisa, and that was like 45 minutes into the film.
Yeah.
Like, they really took their time introducing. She's like the second lead of the film, maybe behind Semi. But like, she's the love interest, and she doesn't turn up for like ages. And then you just see her at the church.
Because they spent so long on those initial jokes in Zamunda. And yeah, I don't know. There's so much at the start that didn't seem very useful.
One part that I really, really like is the part where Lisa's working on her laptop or a computer, whatever it was. And you sort of see Eddie Murphy in the background and he's like mopping. but he's just like really muffing and he's like smiling and like looking at her, and then he does it on the way back. And I was like, is he going to do it again? Are they going to go for a third one?
But when he's like really putting the effort
Yeah,
in.
like watching her, and he's like, if you think of rubbish, think of me.
I'd have liked to have seen a laptop. Did it show it?
It
was it like a
not
dodgy Mac?
I can't remember what it is, but I have
Was it like
massive doubts that in the 80s it was a laptop.
That McDowell's could own a laptop.
No, just the laptops that existed in.
I think it was like a
Like,
computer.
it would have been
Yeah.
so thick. That
Oh, when she was in the back room
Yeah.
and he was going by the window. Yeah.
I think that's like Eddie Murphy in films back in like the 80s and 90s summed up, just him clowning about.
Yeah.
with that
Big
smile.
smile. Yeah. Well, we'll call it for part 1 at this point, and then we'll be back shortly to talk about. Are there any villains in this film? Eric LaSalle?
Is that the boyfriend?
Yeah. We'll talk about him. See you soon.
Get back to the pod.
Hello and welcome back to part 2 of this Coming to America edition of the Spoilt Milk movie podcast.
Sorry.
I can't sing Living in America without thinking of Rocky 4.
I like the Rocky films.
Yeah, no, that's all I was thinking of while singing it.
What have you seen all the Rocky films?
How many are there?
About 7?
So it
So
goes
it's
up to
like
Rocky 5.
1,
with the-
and then 1 and 2 both have Apollo Creed, his fight against. 3 is Clubber Lang.
yeah,
4 is where Apollo Creed comes back and fights Ivan Drago.
and
5's the one with Tommy Gunn, isn't
Tommy
it?
Gunn,
His
yeah.
son.
I've seen that one.
6 is
Rocky Balboa.
Rocky Balboa.
yeah.
And then do we include the Creed 1 and 2?
No, isn't the a 7 after Rocky Balboa? Isn't there one more after Balboa before Creed?
I don't know.
I don't
So
know.
there's a Rocky Balboa where he's so old, but he fights a younger guy and he loses, but he
Yeah,
would've
that's
won.
Rocky 5, isn't it?
Oh, oh,
Oh, maybe not. You're not thinking because they did
No.
Rambo as well, didn't they? They did a. We probably shouldn't spend our time talking about
yeah.
Rocky films. But we said we were going to pick up with the villain of the film, which is Daryl. I think Daryl's the closest.
Do you mean Lionel Richie?
He does look like Lionel
Yeah.
Richie.
Like not just hairstyle, like face wise.
Yeah.
Everything he looks like Lionel Richie.
Because I know him from ER. Did you used to watch ER back in the day?
Yeah.
Eric LaSalle. There was like a clip of him on the beginning song, doing like a karate punch. Do you remember that? Every week?
No.
Yeah. And he
I don't
was
remember
Carter's
that much.
mentor. But that's where I knew him from. So it was interesting seeing him in this. He was the kind of villain. It was a bit of a sexist.
I think he was the
Hey.
competition for Eddie Murphy. I can't remember his. Is it Akeem? Yeah,
Yeah.
Akeem. He's like the love competition, but then they try and make him the baddie with quotation marks by sort of him being sexist and saying like, you know, when we're married and all this stuff. Like, yeah.
He's a bit
Well, he sprung,
possessive.
yeah, and he sprung the proposal, didn't he?
Yeah, he just sort of announced it without actually proposing.
Yeah.
That's shit.
He told it to her dad, who announced it.
That's shit. Like,
Yeah.
if I get proposed to, or if I get told I'm getting married, I want the proposal as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that it was meant to be like a parallel between.
Was that a power move?
Yeah, it was, you know, the arranged marriages in Zakuma or where, Zamunda.
Zakuma.
It was meant to be the
Zakuma
arranged
Matata.
marriages in Zamunda,
No
and then
worries.
this sort of culture of
For
it's-
the rest.
It's our problem free.
Philosophy.
Sakuma
Azuma.
marriage. Arranged
What's that?
marriage.
Aku.
Arranged.
What's that?
Yeah, no, I never thought about that. Like how it was kind of mirroring
Yeah.
what was going on to Akeem.
so while there's
What's
an
happening to Lisa?
acceptance of it in Zamunda,
Mm.
it's just kind of a unconscious acceptance of it, of that style of proposal in America as well. It can happen, not that it does naturally, but
Hope that's deep.
And it was good that the woman was like, no, I'm not going to do it. Lisa, sorry, I said the woman. Lisa was
Woman.
like, no, we're not going to do this. Like, she was standing up for herself, whereas obviously the other way around, this woman that Akeem was supposed to marry doesn't have a say in it.
Mm.
yeah, that was a bit weird at the start where he was like trying to convince her that she doesn't want to marry him. And so he's like, oh, so you'll do whatever I say. And she's like, yes. And then he's like, oh, we'll hop on one leg. You know,
bark like a dog. And she's like,
Yeah.
ruff, 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 ruff. Oh,
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't do that. And like bounces out of the room as she's barked like a dog. So we've got like the other family are in there because Lisa's kind of get in this kind of almost arranged marriage with Eric LaSalle's character. And then we start to see the story take a turn. So Akeem and Lisa start to...
A friendship almost, don't
Yeah,
they?
they do.
It's like a sort of platonic friendship to start with. Like, you know, whenever he's in the shop sweeping or mopping, she's like, oh, hey, Akeem, come and sit down, take a break. And it was...
Yeah,
You know,
so
she's sort
she
of getting to know
accepts
him. Yeah.
But then she notices a bit more of them when they go to the basketball game, don't they? The most poorly attended basketball game of all time. There's about 3 people in the crowd.
Yeah.
But the guy, when they go to see like Chicago Bulls or whatever, and then there's like barely anyone in the stadium.
I
And
didn't notice
then
that.
he goes to the toilet and that guy's like, you're Prince
Yes.
Akeem. And,
Yeah. These are the people I met in the toilet.
Yeah.
That was probably the funniest bit where they're like treating him like a king. And she's like, how do you know that person? Like, just the person I met.
Well, you say that actually. This film is a comedy and was probably sold as a comedy.
Mhm.
How much were you laughing along with this film?
Not as much as I did when I was younger.
Yeah.
As an adult, I was like, oh.
I felt like as a kid when I watched this, I was like, this is hilarious.
Like, he even gets like a cheeky sort of over the trousers hand job by Lisa's sister in the...
Oh,
bathroom.
yeah, he does, doesn't he? Over the trousers hand job. But
That
like,
was, and he didn't stop it straight away. He let it happen.
Yeah.
But what are the funny bits? Like, apart from, especially because this was like sanitized to be a PG to be on TV. So all the bits where they're like effing and binding and the
Definitely.
barbershop scenes.
Yeah.
With all like there was too much cussing going on to be in
definitely
the
one
PG
of it,
version.
That was
But
was like segments out of his stand-up just plonked in.
yeah, when they were talking about like, was it golf
Yeah.
players or NFL players or
they
something?
were talking about boxers.
I thought it was
boxers,
golf.
yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
yeah, golf.
Cassius Clay beating
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali,
Yeah,
and like who the greatest fighter of all time was. And then there's a bit because they cut to it after Akeem and Semi like come to Brooklyn and like, oh, this is great. We'll go to that like there to place to live. But before they don't meet any of the people in the barbershop, they just cut to a random shot of a barbershop. And it's
Mighty
them-
Sharp.
Yeah.
Mhm.
My -T.
Hyphen Sharp,
Sharp.
yeah.
And it's just them having this banner about boxers and who is the worst. And then it cuts away. And then we go off on another scene about them getting in a flat or whatever. And then you come back and they go into a barbershop. And that's when you come back to the same conversation about boxers. But it seems like a whole time has passed.
Mhm.
And their conversation ends with Eddie Murphy Barber going, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Who's next?
Yeah. And it felt like in the film, they're like, as long as we throw some F-bombs out there,
It'll be funny.
yeah, people will laugh. Because that was the time when, like, saying fuck. I remember when I was, like, a kid, my mum being like, oh, Eddie Murphy, he just gets laughs from saying the F word. And, like, that was kind of his thing, that if he said fuck a lot,
But it
people
was
would laugh.
it
Yeah.
was fun as a kid to like if you heard someone
Yeah.
swear or
Yeah,
if
it
you
was.
swore when no one was around, you were like, yeah.
Yeah, he
I
just
do
said
it to my
fuck.
little brother now. I'm like, I go, Zach.
Fuck you.
Fuck. And he
Fuck
just
you, you motherfucker.
busts out laughing. I'm not aggressive to my little brother.
Zach, you're a cunt.
Is that funny?
Oh, isn't it funny?
He listens to this podcast.
Oh, sorry, Zach.
So you're going to have to bleep that all out.
Zach, you're a super cool cunt.
That makes it 100 times better.
We'll show this to all his friends. Look, I'm a cunt.
So we get Samuel L. Jackson in this film. We've
Yeah.
got to talk about that.
When he's
Little-
trying to rub the shop with
Yeah.
his, like, that's just
As a
crazy.
black stereotype. Just
there are loads of those stereotypes in this film.
But do you know what? It was 88, and this is pre-Giuliani, like Mayor Giuliani when he cleaned up the streets of New York.
I thought you were saying this is pre-Jewish people. Pre-Jews.
Well, Eddie Murphy whited up, didn't he, to play a Jewish man? But it was pre-Mayor Giuliani, so it was back when New York was not the safest place. They hadn't cleaned up the streets. So, yeah, they might look like stereotypes now, but they were probably fairly accurate.
Yeah, it's come from somewhere. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's an exaggeration, probably, but still something.
They were probably more accurate than the portrayal of like an African prince.
Yeah, definitely.
Fighting with like wooden sticks saying monkey pizzle.
Oh, yeah. I think I highlighted all the insults, like
sweat from a baboon's balls.
Yeah. Hippo shit, baboon ball sweat.
Who says
freeze
this?
You.
Semi most of it.
Oh,
diseased rhino piz.
Yeah. No, pizzle.
Pizzle.
Yeah. You sweat from a baboon's balls.
And it seemed like, is that meant to be a send-up of a particular character or a real-life person?
I think they're just like, African people know about rhinos and baboons because they live in Africa.
What's Lisa's boyfriend's name again? Daryl. He
Lionel
says
Richie.
things like that, doesn't he? He's quite sort of racist towards African people, if you want to say that.
Which is quite nice, actually, to see, like, I say quite nice, but like,
nice
it was quite refreshing to see.
We don't align with Cham's point of view.
But no, it was quite nice to see, like, back in an 80s film, to see someone being racist, like a black character to be racist to another black character. It wasn't just, because that feels like they could have just got a white man in there and been like, white men hate black people. But it was quite nice in a weird roundabout way to see that actually it wasn't about race as much as it was culture and people in New York thinking that they're better than people from Africa.
Well, his family had quite a lot of money as well, Daryl's family. But then he doesn't know that obviously Akeem, Eddie Murphy's character, is a prince. He just thinks he's a poor guy who's sweeping at McDowell's.
His face is on money.
He's a poor guy. Nobody loves him.
He's just a rich boy from a rich family. Don't tell anyone.
So what happens at the end of the film then? Like, it pretty much will lead in towards the end. But, I mean, the actual end of the film wraps up ridiculously quickly.
It's bizarre because, you know, she finds out that his family, or Akeem's family, are actually rich. His dad comes over and he sees the petals because they have petal throwers wherever he goes. So he says, like, you know, don't tell him I'm here, but I'm going to leave these petals on the ground so he knows I'm here. It's just weird.
But it did feel like there was a whole lot of like building up to the sequence, should I say, where Lisa's dad's having a party and he's got his little train with his booze on or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And the family come and there's this massive build up and then it just like ended really quickly.
It was as soon as he found out that he was rich, they wrapped everything up. Like, all the storylines came together. Oh, he's rich. Now everyone just either deals with it or they don't.
What I didn't like, obviously you're supposed to not like it, was that Lisa's dad was very accepting of Daryl because, you know, he's a nice guy and he's got a lot of money and he always sort of presses that in the film. And he didn't like Akeem's character because he sees him as just a sweet mop boy. And then as soon as he realizes that Akeem comes from a lot of money, his face is on money, that he's like, oh, come over, it's fine. And he's like really friendly to Akeem.
But I felt like, I can't remember, but they added a scene, there was a scene in there where he said something about like, you can't buy my daughter.
Yeah, he does say that when, what's the dad's name? It's Akeem's dad sort of says, you've been inconvenienced, you know, what do I owe you?
Yeah.
And
it felt like they put that in because they're like, oh, he can't just be the guy who's happy
wants
for
money.
his... Yeah.
It's a quick turnaround.
It's a super quick turnaround.
They do set up that he's more of a genuine character at the start because he's explaining to Akeem that he came from nothing and stuff like that. So you think, oh, there's going to be a nice turnaround. But it is a bit of a knee-jerk reaction, which...
So they get married.
Yeah,
Like,
she just turns
out of
up in
nowhere.
what's the country called again?
Zamunda?
Yeah, so I think he's standing at the altar expecting to marry the mail order bride, the arranged marriage bride.
Mail order.
And then, he gets...
That's racist.
Lisa gets to the top or the bottom of the aisle. What is it? You've been married. What is it?
I don't know. I was at the other end.
So that end...
No, you ended up at one end of them.
Yeah, I know. I was just at the end with the screen. I was like, whichever end where the screen is, I'll be at that end.
Meet me there. Is that what you text me?
Yeah. I was too busy clicking through a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, so Lisa just turns up in this redonkulous dress when she's not really into money, apparently, or anything like that. But then she's got an amazing dress. And then they just get married, and doesn't she say at the end, like, and you would have given all this up for me? And then he's like, well, I still can. And then she goes, nah.
Yeah, and it's like, nah, end.
Yeah.
And it's just, oh, right,
disingenuous ending to a film ever, like the most unearned.
Yeah.
It just wrapped up and ended. So what did we think of the film? Who's going first?
I can go.
All right, go for it. So are we saying it's spoiled milk? Luxurious cheese.
Cheese or milk.
I'm actually very confused about this film.
I'm confused about this film.
I really, there's nothing about it that I should like, because none of it earns any of what it does.
No.
But it was kind of enjoyable. It was.
You were laughing through bits. It was really funny.
And I'm not just saying that because there's tits at the start of it. Like,
or underwater blowjobs.
Yeah, underwater blowjobs.
That's impressive.
And I really, while I did generally like the banner between the barbershop people, I hated how put in that whole segment.
Very crowbar.
I didn't like how any of it was put together, but I kind of enjoyed it. So I think this is going to be a luxurious cheese against my better judgment.
Right. Okay. 1 vote for luxurious cheese. Laura, do you want to go next?
No.
Okay. Right.
I'm still thinking.
I feel exactly the same as you. Like, if there was some kind of in between, I'd be like, yeah, I'll put it in there. It didn't make me laugh as much as I wanted it to. But it didn't really do much to annoy me at the same time. So, yeah, I'm going to say it's cheese. If I was going to class it as a cheese, though, I would say it was like a Baby Bell, where you're like, it is cheese, but it's basically candle wax.
Oh, what? Don't insult Baby Bell.
No, but Baby Bells
Tesco's own brand.
No, because that's awful.
Yeah, exactly.
But Baby Bells are kind of like, they're fine. When you're eating it, you're like, this isn't cheese. Like, you wouldn't grate a Baby Bell on like your spaghetti bolognese, would you?
I think I would. I'm a homeless person.
This is the guy that eats Smash with ketchup, remember?
Smash.
When you're on the street, if you can eat Smash, that's luxury. That's like eating lobster.
But this film, it was fine. Like, I'm a bit baffled at the idea of it being like an 80s classic. I'm sure there was better films in the 80s, but it was fine.
I think we need to better judge what we call a spoiled milk and a...
Well,
that's our categories. Laura.
I don't know. I'm kind of the same way. Isn't there like a middle ground, like a 2-week-old brie in the fridge or something?
This is definitely a 2-week-old brie.
Yeah, it is.
I did enjoy it, and I enjoyed watching it when I was little as well.
Yeah, me too. Nostalgia's got a big part. So.
Yeah, and I think as a kid, I found it more funnier when I found out that Eddie Murphy was playing other characters. But as I get older, it's really annoying.
First time he did it as well.
But it's just like his other films with that is just ridiculous.
Do you prefer Nutty Professor the Clumps? Nutty Professor.
Do you like Nutty Professor?
I like Nutty Professor, but it just, I don't know. It's not something I find as funny, but I'll probably laugh my ass off at Nutty Professor if I watched it again. I think I'm going to go with cheese. I actually did really enjoy it. I was laughing at bits and pieces, and I'm unsure of my decision.
It seems like we're all on the same page, though.
Can we just go for brie instead?
Yeah.
Can we call it
No,
a
but
brie?
I love brie. I think brie's like
2-week
great.
old brie.
But I think like brie gets better with age.
No, like, you know when it goes like a bit hard.
A bit crispy.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
That
Crispy
sort of
brie then.
Yeah, crispy brie.
So we are voting cheese, right?
Yeah.
But we have done.
Like, we're all pulling that face
Okay,
that you're not
so-
sure about.
Yeah, we don't want to call this cheese.
But I don't want to say it's spoiled milk because it is enjoyable.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine, luxurious
I don't
cheese.
think I'd show this
Fine
to
cheese.
a too young audience, but I would definitely recommend it to an older audience.
So we're settled then.
Yes.
Coming to America is cheese. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.
Meh.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Spoilt Milk Movie Podcast, you pieces of fucking shit.